Hello all, good evening. Welcome to Programming Fundamentals course. So till yesterday we have been working on different mechanisms, right? We even started with solid principles yesterday. So today we are going to focus more on understanding what is the next principle and how to apply these in real life. Programming, how to apply these techniques. So what is the concept that we covered yesterday? We discussed single responsibility principle. And today we are going to discuss about the second principle, which is, can you see my screen, everyone? Yes, I guess. Yeah. So today we are going to discuss about open closed principle. So now, first, let's just do a quick review of single responsibility principle. So there are two definitions. One is very commonly known. Every entity should have a single responsibility. And the other definition, which is the right definition according to the person who created this, there should be only one reason to change. And we did some examples also on that yesterday. If we follow first definition, what is the kind of output that we get? If we follow second definition, what kind of output we get? So based on that, we identified how to use single responsibility principle. And unknowingly, మనం already starting నుంచి we have been using this single responsibility principle, right? We started writing small methods. We made like a smaller classes, and we tried to reduce the number of responsibilities on each entity, whether it is a method or a class or a package, anything. So they are already మనం try చేస్తున్నాం. Now let's try to discuss about the next principle, which is open closed principle. So what is this open closed principle? This is like what is it, kind of controversial, right? It is saying open, it is also saying closed. What exactly does it say? So there are two parts in this. First one is open, the second one is closed. Open for what and closed for what? So every entity, మనం ఇప్పుడు already single responsibility apply చేశాక we got much better entities, right? So now we are going to discuss on how we can make these entities even more better. ఇంకా లైక్ స్కేలబుల్గా చేయడానికి ఏం చేయొచ్చు, హౌ టు మేక్ షూర్ మీరు ఏదైనా ఒక చేంజ్ చేస్తున్నారంటే ఇట్ షుడ్ నాట్ బ్రేక్ ఎనీ ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ ఫంక్షనాలిటీ. అలా బ్రేక్ చేయకుండా ఉంచడానికి ఏం చేయొచ్చు, వాట్ ఆర్ ద ప్రైమరీ థింగ్స్ దట్ వీ కెన్ డూ, that we are going to discuss during open closed principle. So when we say about open, we are talking about extensions, and when we talk about closed, we are talking about modifications. Okay, so now the definition is something like any entity can be open for extensions but closed for modifications. So extensions came open ga undali, it should be like giving enough support for that. But whereas it comes to modifications, it should be closed. You should not be able to modify anything in the existing class. So how and why exactly we need to follow this principle, we'll try to understand. We'll take a small example. Have you seen this thing? So here there is already a house, right? From here to this particular thing. Now if you want to extend this house, can we extend it like this? Same dani inkoka room add cheyali ante, how do we do that? We can just add another roof like this, and then we can add like the side by side walls, right? By adding all these things, what are we doing? We are extending the house, right? Now let me ask you a real world problem, a real world question actually. So almost like everyone, like మీ ఇంటి దగ్గర టెర్రస్ మీదకి వెళ్ళినప్పుడు విల్ యూ సీ సమ్ స్మాల్ పిల్లర్ ఓవర్ దర్? టెర్రస్ మీద ఎప్పుడైనా మీరు చిన్న చిన్న పిల్లర్స్ చూసారా, వేర్ యూ హ్యావ్ దీస్ ఐరన్ రాడ్స్ అండ్ ఆల్ విత్ ద కాంక్రీట్? హ్యావ్ యూ ఎవర్ వండర్డ్ like why do we have those kind of things? So let us just see those kind of things once. Yeah, have you seen something like this? ఇలాంటి పిల్లర్స్ చూసారా ఎప్పుడైనా? టెర్రస్ మీద like almost like for most of the buildings, 99% of the buildings, they'll have these kind of small pillars, right? Why do we have these things? ఇవి ఉండడం వల్ల మనకు వచ్చే యూజ్ ఏంటి? జస్ట్ ఫ్యాషన్ కోసం పెట్టారా ఇవి? ఎనీవన్? These kind of pillars. ఇలాంటివి ఎందుకు క్రియేట్ చేసి ఉంటారు? లైక్ ఎనీ గెస్, ఎనీవన్? In case ఒకవేళ ఫ్యూచర్లో ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ టు ఎక్స్టెండ్ ఫర్దర్, if you want to build another floor on top of your terrace, then you need a strong pillar support, right? Pillar support ఒకవేళ మీరు వాల్ వరకే, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ ఇఫ్ యూఆర్ క్లోజింగ్ ఇట్ టిల్ దిస్ పాయింట్ ఓన్లీ, ఇదంతా ఫ్లాట్గా చేశారనుకోండి, దెన్ యూ విల్ నాట్ బి ఏబుల్ టు కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ అ న్యూ ఫ్లోర్ ఆన్ టాప్ ఆఫ్ దట్ పిల్లర్, రైట్? మీకు పిల్లర్ అనేది కింద గ్రౌండ్ లెవెల్, బేస్ లెవెల్ నుంచి యూ హ్యావ్ టు కీప్ గెటింగ్ ద సపోర్ట్, దెన్ ఓన్లీ యూ కెన్ బిల్డ్ అ స్ట్రాంగర్ స్ట్రక్చర్, రైట్? సో అలా చేయడం కోసము పీపుల్ విల్ లీవ్ అ స్మాల్ పార్ట్ ఆఫ్ ద పిల్లర్ ఆన్ ద టాప్, సో దట్ మీరు ఫ్యూచర్లో కావాలనుకుంటే యూ విల్ బిల్డ్ న్యూ పిల్లర్ కంప్లీట్లీ ఆన్ టాప్ ఆఫ్ దిస్ థింగ్. దీని మీద మీరు ఎక్స్టెండ్ చేస్తారు, రైట్? యూ కెన్ like extend the pillar and then you can extend the rooms and walls, everything, right? Similarly, if you see this example, ఇక్కడ కూడా అలాగే ఉంది చూడండి. ఫస్ట్ యూ ఆల్రెడీ హ్యావ్ ఎ హౌస్ అండ్ దెన్ దాన్ని ఎక్స్టెండ్ చేయాలి అంటే యూ కెన్ డూ ఇట్ దిస్ వే. అందుకని మీకు ఇక్కడ సైడ్కి ఎక్స్ట్రా వాల్ ఇచ్చారు చూడండి. కెన్ యూ సీ దిస్? సో అలా ఇఫ్ యూ వాంట్ టు ఎక్స్టెండ్ యూ నీడ్ సమ్ ఎక్స్ట్రా సపోర్ట్, ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ కోసం అది ఇచ్చారు, రైట్? బట్ విల్ దే అలౌ యూ టు మోడిఫై ఎనీథింగ్ in the pillars which are already there? Ante for example, let's take house kunna ground level pillars chudandi. Ee pillars ni meer emana modify cheyala to construct something on the top of your terrace? Ground level lo unna pillars ni eppudaina manam modify cheyalsina avasaram untunda? Or if you take this example, do we need to make any changes on this purple area? ఒక కొత్త రూమ్ కన్స్ట్రక్ట్ చేయడానికి డూ వీ నీడ్ టు మేక్ ఎనీ చేంజెస్ ఇన్ ద ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ హౌస్? వీ డోంట్ నీడ్ టు. వాట్ వీ నీడ్ ఇస్ ఓన్లీ ద ఎక్స్టెన్షన్ సపోర్ట్, అంతే. ఈ ఏరియా ఉంది అంటే చాలు మనకి, రైట్? ఓన్లీ దీస్ ఆర్ ద ఏరియాస్, పాయింట్స్ వేర్ వీ విల్ యాక్చువల్లీ ట్రై టు మేక్ యూజ్ ఆఫ్ ఇట్ టు ఎక్స్టెండ్ అండ్ బిల్డ్ అనదర్ వాట్ ఈస్ లైక్ అ రూమ్ ఆర్ like extra features basically. So similarly, when we are working on a software product, we should also let the software do the same thing. Every entity, it should be able to extend it. People should be able to extend a existing entity, but they should not make any changes to the existing entity. So ఒకవేళ మీకు ఒక కొత్త రూమ్ కావాలంటే మీరు కొత్తగా ఇలా బిల్డ్ చేసుకోవాలి ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ దాన్ని యూజ్ చేసి, బట్ యూ షుడ్ నాట్ మేక్ ఎనీ చేంజెస్ ఓవర్ దీస్ ఏరియాస్, రైట్? సో విచ్ మీన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ మేకింగ్ షూర్ ఎగ్జిస్టింగ్ ఎక్కడ కూడా బ్రేక్ అవ్వట్లేదు. కరెంట్ ఫంక్షనాలిటీ ఏదైతే ఉందో అదంతా ఎవ్రీథింగ్ ఇట్ షుడ్ వర్క్ ఎగ్జాక్ట్లీ యాజ్ ఇట్ ఈస్, బట్ అట్ ద సేమ్ టైమ్ we should also get some extra functionality, right? So this is what open and closed means. So in this particular example, ee purple color lo edaithe undo, is this open or closed? Is this open or closed? Purple color lo unna block, the house which is there in the purple color block, this is actually closed. In order to create a new room, you don't need to make any changes in this particular block, right? You just need to open it for the extension. So whatever you have created, this is open, right? Open for extension, closed for modification, right? So now whenever you create a new one, how should we do that? ఎవరైనా ఒక కొత్త ఫంక్షనాలిటీ కావాలంటే they should not modify anything in the existing one. They should just extend it and build it. For example, let's take another simple example. What is this? What is this area? What is this object? It is a kind of truck, right? But truck ante manaku only దీన్నే యూజ్ చేయాలా, ఆర్ ఇలానే ఉండాలా, ఆర్ ఇలా ఉండాలా? This can be a water tank, or it can be a milk tank, or it can be any kind of container which takes liquids basically. It might be petroleum, or it might be diesel, or it might be any liquid. Next, ade top di chuste, this is for solid, mainly for sand, bricks, etc., right? Next, if you see the second one deniki use chestamu? Usually for towing vehicles and all, right? సో అలాంటి వాటికి వీఆర్ యూజింగ్ దిస్ వన్. సో now if you are having this one particular thing, can you have any of these items or ఏదైనా ఒక్కటే డెఫినెట్గా ఉండాలా? This is built following open closed principle, which is OCP. అంటే open for extension, closed for modification, right? Closed దేనికి, in case if you want this kind of like what is a container, sand or bricks లాంటివి తీసుకెళ్ళాలి అనుకోండి, do you need to make any changes on this particular area? దాన్ని ఏదైతే like carry చేస్తుందో, do we need to make any changes on this? We don't need to make any changes over here, right? Only thing what we need to do, we just need to link this with this one. That's it. And then our work is done. So now we are using an existing engine with a trolley, with a truck, basically, truck in the back end. Alage, if you want to carry some other things, for example, like water or milk, then what should we do? Just remove this and then connect this part. Do we need to do any changes on this area? We don't need to do any changes on the engine part, right? So it's the same thing again. So this way we can actually ensure open closed principle is being used. Okay. Now, ఇంకా మనం రియల్ లైఫ్లో ఓపెన్ క్లోజ్డ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్ ఎక్కడెక్కడ యూజ్ చేస్తాం చెప్పండి? ఎనీ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ వేర్ యూ కెన్ థింక్ ఆఫ్ we are using open closed principle? Let's say if you are using a mixer use చేస్తున్నారు అనుకోండి, mixer or grinder kind of thing. So how will it work? It will have some kind of structure, right? And then ఈ టాప్ కంటైనర్ దీనికి ఫిక్స్ అయి ఉంటుందా, or will it be separate? The top container whatever we have, ఇది దీనికి ఫిక్స్ అయి ఉంటుందా, or will it be separate? What happens if it is fixed? ఒకవేళ ఇది దీంతో పాటు కంబైన్డ్ గా వచ్చింది అనుకోండి, this is like completely sealed అనుకోండి, what will happen? You can use only one jar, right? You cannot use it for multi-purpose. But మనకి దీనికి ఏమైనా రిలేషన్ ఉందా? We just want this to rotate, that's it, right? లోపల ఉన్న బ్లేడ్స్ ఏవైతే ఉన్నాయో, they have to continuously rotate at a higher speed. And this one, whatever we are using here, the motor basically, this should just rotate it, that's it. It doesn't have anything to do only with this particular jar, right? ఒకవేళ ఈ రెండు కలిపి ఉన్నాయనుకోండి, what will happen? If you have any problem with jar, you have to replace the entire item, right? Alage, you have to use three different things. Like for example, if you are making some kind of what is it, like batter ki you have to use one mixer. And then if you are making some juice, you have to use another mixer. And then if you are using something like depth grind cheyalsina unnai, something like grinding basically, you have to use another one. So do we need to really buy 3 mixers? We don't need to, because they are actually following open closed principle. Since they are following open closed principle, what do? They don't put this, right? They try to make sure there is a kind of extension. So in this, which one is closed and which one is open? So this area, ఈ కింద ఏరియా ఏదైతే ఉందో, is this open or closed? The machine which has the motor and all, this is actually closed. You cannot modify anything inside these things, right? దాంట్లో ఏదైనా ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చిందంటే you have to go and get it checked with a mechanic or like the repair guy basically. In case if you want to use a different blender, like for example battery use చేశారు, ఇప్పుడు నెక్స్ట్ జ్యూస్ వాడాలనుకుంటున్నారు, just change this. Instead of this, try to use another one which is like maybe a batter one, and this is open, right? So మనం రియల్ లైఫ్లో ఏవైతే కాన్సెప్ట్స్ యూస్ చేస్తున్నామో, సేమ్ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ అగైన్ వీఆర్ గెటింగ్ ఇట్ ఇన్ టు ప్రోగ్రామింగ్, అండ్ దెన్ వీఆర్ గివింగ్ దెమ్ ఫ్యాన్సీ నేమ్స్ అండ్ వీఆర్ కాలింగ్ దెమ్ లైక్ ద బెస్ట్ ప్రాక్టీసెస్. సో ఓపెన్ క్లోజ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్ కూడా వన్ ఆఫ్ సచ్ థింగ్స్. How does it help us? To reduce the cost, to reduce the space, and to make sure nothing actually breaks. For example, మీరు బ్యాటర్ యూస్ చేశారు, now you wanted to use juice. Do you need to test anything on this part? మోటార్ పనిచేస్తుందా లేదా అది చేంజ్ చేసే ప్రతిసారి చెక్ చేయాలా? It is not needed. You just remove this and then you put this. That's it, right? It is as simple as like removing one connection, establishing another connection, right? Is it clear, guys, everyone? So similarly, like even if you see a laptop like laptop charger manaki system ki connect ayi vastunda, or will it be a separate one? Will it come with a wire which is completely attached with the laptop? If you see a mixer kemo wire attach ayi vastundi, but for laptop you don't get a wire attached. What is the reason? Even this is also following open closed principle. You can connect it only when it is necessary, right? Only when you wanted to use it. Otherwise you don't need it. Same thing we followed with the truck also, right? In case, let's say if you don't have these 3 items, okay, can you still use this? We can, because this is a main engine that will move on, right? But okay, ఇది లేదు అనుకోండి, do you have any purpose with these 3 items other than keeping at one place and storing something? There is no purpose, right? So these are of no use if you don't have the main thing. So this is the building block, basically the main block, and these are extensions, right? These are all extensions. Ilantivi inka if you want more, can we get more extensions? We can, right? There is no restriction. You can create any number of extensions. For example, future lo, if the company, for example this company, let's say like Bharat Belts, okay, if they are actually building another kind of container, can we use that with this? If they are building something which is like very lengthy container, can we use this? We can still, because it is just an extension. So once you build something strong, the building block basically, you can use any number of extensions, right? We have applied this logic in our application also. Can you say where exactly? ఈ లాజిక్, ఈ మెకానిజంని మన అప్లికేషన్లో ఎక్కడ యూజ్ చేసామో క్యాన్ యూ గైస్ ఐడెంటిఫై? When we were discussing about payments, right? Payments, are we putting everything in one class? మొత్తం టోటల్గా ఒకే దగ్గర పెట్టాను నేను కోడ్ అంతా? I did not. What did I do? దీన్ని సింపుల్గా ఒక మెథడ్ ఏదైతే కావాలో దాన్ని మాత్రమే డిఫైన్ చేశాను. ప్రైమరీ థింగ్స్, కామన్ లాజిక్, రైట్? అండ్ దెన్ వాట్ డిడ్ we do? We extended అంటే నథింగ్ బట్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ basically. Real life lo we thought it is connection. In programming it is nothing but either inheritance or implements, right? So ee rendu manaki like when it comes to open closed principle in programming. Now how did we do that for payments? We wanted to make sure ee payments lo there are different types, like credit card payment and then debit card payment. ఆ తర్వాత we got cash payments. And now if you observe, మనం UPI payments create చేసినప్పుడు did we make any changes over here? When we started working on UPI payments, did we do any changes here? It was closed. We did not do any changes for payments. What did we do? We simply extended, right? We simply extended payments and then created another one, which is UPI payments, right? Next, UPI payments lo kuda we have created multiple things, right? Appudu kuda when you wanted to make one payment, you did not directly just modify this. Modifications ikkada cheyaledu. What did we do? We just created again Google Pay payments, PhonePe payments, and then we created Paytm payments. Guys, just give me a minute. Yeah. So we have seen how we are actually extending something new. Now, let me ask you a question. In case ఒకవేళ నేను ఇప్పుడు ఒక కొత్త పేమెంట్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి, లెట్స్ సే పేపాల్ పేమెంట్, వేర్ షుడ్ ఐ మేక్ ద చేంజ్? Do I need to make any change in the payments? Do I need to make any changes in the payments class? I don't need to. What should I do? I have to just extend it, right? I have to just create a new extension and then create PayPal payments, right? That's it. So are we modifying anything in the existing things? Existing functionality lo evaina change ayyaya? Do we need to test again payments? We don't need to. So this is working fine. CPI on the change avutunda credit card payment? No. This is not modified. So whatever we already have, we are not touching any of those things. What are we doing? We are just extending with a new class. So whatever the changes that you are actually looking at, avi manaku only new classes lo maatrame jarugutayi. So this way it will be much simpler and easier for us to maintain our code, right? Do you guys agree? So open close principle, what is it teaching us? It is asking us to avoid any modifications to existing code and then create new classes whenever it is necessary. So we are trying to avoid any problems that might occur in the current classes and all. So what in malli manam test cheyalsina avasaram ledhu. We don't need to re-verify again and again, right? This makes it easier for us to manage it. So that's the primary reason why we are using open close principle. Clear guys, everyone? So just to reiterate, open close principle, why are we using it? We should not make any changes to the existing system directly. If you want a new feature, create a new class and extend whatever the functionalities that are available. No one should make any changes on the existing code directly, right? Now, if you see, like for example, manaki already there are a lot of classes which are available in Java, right? For array list kani or map, all these things are already available. Alage Python lo kuda we have a lot of things, dictionaries and all. Now, if you want to customize any of these things, అంటే అది వర్క్ చేస్తున్న బిహేవియర్ ఏదైతే ఉందో, if you want to modify that, how should we do that? Do we need to go to that class and modify it, or do we need to do anything else? Let us see here. For example, let's say we have array list. Okay, when you have array list, if you want to make any changes to array list, అంటే అది బిహేవ్ చేసే వేని చేంజ్ చేయాలి అనుకుంటున్నారు, what should we do? Can we go and modify this class? Will Java allow us to actually modify this class? Will Python allow us to modify dictionary class? Because they won't allow. The reason is this is being used by so many applications already, right? The array list avanivandi, dictionary avanivandi, all these things are already being used by multiple people, multiple applications. If you make any change over here, right? If it breaks something, if it is not working as it should be, like where all the effect will be, all these things will get affected, right? Instead of that, what should we do? We have to follow. We should not modify anything here. What should we do? Simply extend this class and then create your own array list, something like my array list. And who is using this my array list? ఇంతకు ముందు యూజ్ చేస్తున్న వీళ్ళందరూ ఎవరైనా యూజ్ చేస్తున్నారా my array list అన్నది? Are they using our class, the one which we created? No one is using that, right? This is being used only by us. Whenever we require, we will use this. So this code is only with us. Alantappudu, if you create this, will it be easier for us to manage? Whenever there is a problem, you'll directly go to this particular class and then see what is the issue. In case next meek inkoka change ayana kavali, my array list kuda kaadu, I wanted to create something like our array list. So extend this and create our array list. You can create any number of children, like there is no such limit as for example, if you have this one, create another child, create another child, create another child. You can keep on doing this until your requirements are fulfilled. Now let's say you want another child from this particular level, so just go here, create another children. You can just do it like any at any level. So this way we are focusing on opening for extension but closed for modification, right? To remember this in a simpler way, there is an example image also. You can just check this. Open closed principle. Yes. So now if you see this image, what are they saying? We don't need to perform open chest surgery just to put a code, right? Just మనం ఒక కోడ్ వేసుకోవడానికి do we need to do open heart surgery completely? అలాగే if you want to put a hat, do you need to cut your head and put the hat? We don't need to do that, right? So what do we do? మన హ్యూమన్ బాడీ కూడా ఇట్స్ ఆల్రెడీ ఫాలోయింగ్ దిస్ కైండ్ ఆఫ్ స్ట్రక్చర్. వాట్ ఈస్ దట్? ఓపెన్ క్లోజ్డ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్. It is actually open for extensions. If you want to wear any kind of dress, you can directly just wear on top of the body. But if you have to modify anything related to body functioning, then you have to open the body and then fix it, right? And that will be done only by experts who are doctors. Similarly, code la kuda ఏమైనా modifications ఉన్నాయి. If you think like array list is not working properly, can you make any changes over there directly? You cannot. You have to ask the respective person or the company to make the necessary changes. Similarly, if we are facing some challenges in the body, what do? Go to hospital, ask the doctors to fix it. Manam intlo kushani, we will not open like our body and then fix the problems, right? If it is a smaller problem, if you are getting a headache, what do? Do we cut our head and then do some kind of magic over there? We don't do. What do? We simply put some kind of balm or we take some kind of medicine. Medicine good, directly we are taking it like an extension. You can take any medicine, right? So based on that, even our body is also created in such a fashion that it is open for extensions, closed for modifications, right? So this is how we actually do. And similarly, if you just consider another example, let's take like normally manaki festivals ki we make statues, right? For example, Vinayaka Chaviti ki like for Ganesh Chaturthi we create a Ganesha statue, right? Ganesha idol create chestam. Do we follow open closed principle over there? మనం ఫస్ట్ బాడీ మొత్తం క్రియేట్ చేసి దాని మీద డ్రెస్ ఇవన్నీ యాడ్ చేస్తామా, ఆర్ డు వి క్రియేట్ ద ఐడల్ డైరెక్ట్లీ విత్ ఎవ్రీథింగ్? Tell me guys, do we follow open close principle while building a idol? Ganesh idol create చేసేటప్పుడు do we follow this strategy? We won't follow that because it is only for one time usage, and then the usage is we wanted to just see it, right? We are not trying to do any it's not like a Barbie doll where we are trying to design it with a different fashion and all. It's more of like a religious thing where people wanted an idol to praise, right, to do all the rituals. So that's the reason we are trying to create it directly with all the required things as a single thing. So when you see that idol, it is not open for extension. It is closed for modification. It is closed for extension also. But when it comes to a Barbie doll or when it comes to a human body, are we following the same approach? We are not. What are we doing? We are trying to open for extension, closed for modifications, so that we can try out different things. Even in terms of fashion, we have a lot of choices, right? We can try out different attires. We can try out different dresses. We can try different cultural outfits. Similarly, like many objects that in real world, they actually follow this kind of open close principle. Clear guys, everyone? Any questions, anyone so far? So solidly we have seen two principles. What are those two principles? One is single responsibility and the other one is open close principle. Now if you try to combine these two things, single responsibility principle and open close principle, what is this saying? Make entities smaller, right? Make entities smaller so that they become independent and there will be only one reason to change. And what is open close principle is saying? Don't let people modify it, right? So no modifications and then only extensions, right? Now if you follow this SRP, OCP kuda manaki easy avutunda. SRP use chesinappudu mana class is getting very small and independent. And then if you want to add another extra feature, which means you are actually adding another reason to change. So whenever there is a new reason to change, do we need to modify this or do we need to create a new class? Open close principle enti? Only when there is a new feature that you wanted to implement, you have to create a new class, right? And then which means you have a new reason. Oka kotta reason vachinappudu, do we need to modify existing class or new class? Mana daggara unna whatever the class that we have, do we need to modify this or do we need to extend a new class? So this is what happened. So this is old class and this is new class and we are depending on this one. So we are using inheritance and we are trying to extend new functionalities. Is it clear guys, everyone? Now how can we apply this particular principle in our project? So manam already project lo we have come to multiple classes and all, right? We have created checkout class, we have created payments class. Payments, so for every payment type we have created another class and all, right? Now what are the other pending things that we have? What are the pending items we have in our project inka? So let's take a e-commerce project. E-commerce project lo what all do we have? What all features do we have? Let's try to understand as a user. First, user will come and see the main menu, right? Next, after seeing main menu, what can user do? Main menu is nothing but home screen basically, where user can see the categories and then whether user can go for checkout, all those things we can see it here, right? Now what is the next screen? Main menu tarvata em cheyali? If you select a category, then you should be able to see all the products, right? So which are going to be like product listing. So we call it as product listing. Product listing ante enti? We'll try to understand these terms also. Now, if you see, this is an application, right? In this application, e-screen, what are you able to see that? The first screen. And what should we name this? This is where we are able to see multiple products. And meek edaina oka product nachindi. Then what should we do? You click on it. Where will it go? It will go to the product details page. So this is called product listing, and this is called product details, right? So let's go here. So one is product listing. Next, when you select a product, it will go to product details. And then product details or product listing, you can add some items to cart, right? Which means checkout page basically. And then from checkout, where will it go? You should be able to make the payment. So you need a payments page also. And once the payment is done, then where should we go? We should be able to see our order details, right? So we should be able to see the order page basically. So all these are part of a e-commerce application. Am I right? Inka then if you want to add more features, you can add like category listing also here. అన్ని categories చూపిస్తాము. ఆ తర్వాత once you select a category, it will go into product listing, right? Now, how to create a design for this kind of thing? Like how to create a system design. For example, main menu undi. Right now, where are we doing that? Main menu ekkada create చేసాము? Main class లోనే create చేసాము, right? Yeah. So let me just do it. Now, first main menu create చేయాలంటే do we need a separate class or should we write it in our main method? ఇప్పటి వరకు మనం మెయిన్ ఫంక్షన్ లో డైరెక్ట్ గా రాసాము. బట్ ఈజ్ ఇట్ గుడ్? మెయిన్ ఫంక్షన్ లో having main menu, is it correct? Do we need to create it as a separate class or is it okay to put it in the main function? Since we are following single responsibility principle, it should not be inside main function. It should be in a separate class. And our class responsibility is only displaying the menu, right? So this should be a separate class now. What should be the class name? Can we call it main menu? And what is the responsibility here? Only display, right? Display menu. And then what is the next thing? You need a class for product listing, right? So you have to create another class for product listing. And product listing, listing what do we have? We have multiple products, right? We are showing something like this. So which means it has a list of products. So again, you can have multiple sections. You can have multiple classes. It can be a header, it can be a footer, it can be an item. You will have multiple things. Next, what is the next one? We are going to create another one which is called product details, right? Now, if we create this way, ప్రతి ఒక్క feature కి ప్రతి ఒక్క screen కి మనం ఒక separate class create చేస్తే, do we have a single reason for modification? When do we modify this one, చెప్పండి? When do we modify main menu? Only when there is a change in what user has to see on the first screen. right? There is only one reason. Our menu change aitene ఇది change అవుతుంది, otherwise there won't be any change, right? So this is working fine. Next, product listing ఎప్పుడు change అవుతుంది? Only when you wanted to display the products in a different fashion, like list laga, grid laga, or how you wanted to display it. So there is only one reason for this also. Alage product details, what all information you wanted to display, you are having it here, right? Now let us see a few more things. Next couple of days we are going to build a few more functionalities. Danni open close principle ela help avutundo chudam. So once the cart management is completed, the next thing that we are going to work on is product details screen, tarvata product listing, and then product display module. After that we are going to use the same system for books and clothing. E-commerce normal ga use chesevi and books ki clothing ki, will it be same? Are they exactly same? Now this is where we are going to discuss. So if you are using this for, let's say, groceries, okay, and then if you are using the same thing for books, and if you are using same thing for clothing, will it work? Functionality paranga it might work, but when it comes to clothing, you wanted to show different colors, you wanted to use different UI, and meer chupiche pattern kuda change avvachu. Similarly, when you are doing it for books, it might actually change. So if you want to add a new type, ila clothing kani books kani ilantivi add cheyalante, do we need to make any changes over here? We should not. What should we do? Create a new class from here which says books product details. If you want to do the same thing for clothes product details. Similarly for groceries product details, right? So when you actually follow this kind of pattern, appudu meeku clothes display aye daggara emana problem ochindante, where should we make changes? We have to make only at this place, right? We don't need to modify anything over here. This is the common logic which we will have, right? So this way, this is closed for modification and open for extension. Alage product listing undi. Product listing lo kuda whatever kind of data that you are handling, you can just create a separate one. Books ko okat chestaru, clothes ko okat chestaru, and then for groceries you will create another one. Similarly, if you want to use the same application for selling houses, you can use another client, another what is it, like child class, right? So this is how we can actually follow open close principle. And then we are also having single responsibility principle. Common way of changes avalante, there is some thing that is in the product listing. Ade edana customized specific housing related listing lo edana changes kavalante, you will do it at this place. So we are following SRP, and we are also following OCP, which is open closed principle. Clear guys, everyone? So solid principles lo many people like especially during interviews kani leda future lo when they are working on it, solid principles lo chaala mandiki telisindi idi okkate. So if you get to know the remaining things, your power will be at a next level. Andariki S okate enduku telusu ante, S is easy to remember, single responsibility principle, and idi kuda only with the first definition, not the second definition. Second definition looks a little difficult, so people don't even look at that. Whatever is easier, people will tend to go towards that, right? But yesterday we have seen 80-20 rule. 80% of the people will take easiest choices. Only 20% of the people will take hard choices. And that's the reason these people will get 80% of the better results, right? Am I right, guys? So now try to understand these extra things so that this will give you an extra bonus for you guys. So whenever you go for interviews or whenever you have discussions with your like teams, adi me internal project teams ayi undachu leda meer company lo work chesetappudu ayi undachu, that will give you an extra edge, right? So whenever you are discussing some kind of system design aspects, you can say that you should not modify everything at keep everything at one place. You have to follow a proper principles. సాలిడ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్లో సింగిల్ రెస్పాన్సిబిలిటీ ఎప్పుడు వాడాలి, ఓపెన్ క్లోజ్డ్ ఎప్పుడు వాడాలి. సో వెన్ యూ give this kind of information to other people, people will assume that okay, this person has real stuff, right? That is when you are going to get a good visibility, right? Do you agree with me, everyone? So this is how we can actually build more what is it, like a confidence in terms of attending interviews, like answering in a better way. And is it very difficult? Open closed అంటే ఏంటి, మనం రియల్ లైఫ్లో చూసేవి వీఆర్ జస్ట్ ట్రైంగ్ టు అప్లై ద సేమ్ థింగ్ ఇన్ ద కోడింగ్. అండ్ కోడింగ్లో కూడా ఎలా చేస్తున్నాము, ఇఫ్ దెర్ ఈస్ ఎ క్లాస్ అండ్ యూ నీడ్ టు ఇంప్లిమెంట్ ఎ న్యూ ఫీచర్, సింప్లీ డోంట్ జస్ట్ modify the class, create a new class and extend the existing class. That's it. Just by extending, you are implementing your open close principle. That is single responsibility అయితే you are trying to find only one reason to modify that. That's it. So this way we are trying to make our system better. And with this single responsibility తోటే మనకి number of classes చాలా పెరిగాయి, right? And now with open close, for example, before attending this course, just wait a moment, just give me a minute. Yeah. ఒకవేళ ఇప్పుడు మనం చేస్తున్న e-commerce application, if you are doing it before attending this course, how many classes will you create approximately? Can you tell me? Approximately ఎన్ని classes create చేస్తారు for this e-commerce application? Let's try to analyze them. Maybe less than 5, right? And then without SRP, మనం ఆల్రెడీ కొన్ని నేర్చుకున్నాం, రైట్? లైక్ యూజింగ్ బెటర్ ప్రాక్టీసెస్ అండ్ చిన్న చిన్న క్లాసెస్ లాగా చేసుకుంటే మనకి కోడింగ్ ఈజీ అవుతుంది అనుకున్నాం. సో అలా చేసేటప్పటికి ఇట్ వాజ్ మేబీ లైక్ లెస్ దాన్ 10, రైట్? ఆఫ్టర్ ఎస్ఆర్పి it might go up to 12 or 13, right? And with open closed principle, this might go up to even like number of classes are increasing, but మన system architecture ఏదైతే ఉంటుందో, is it getting better? So whenever, and అసలు వీటి purpose ఎలా వస్తుంది, ఇప్పుడు I'll just give you one small example. Let's assume you have gone to interview, okay? And then you have kept e-commerce project as your major project in a resume. Now, when the discussion starts about the project మీద frankly speaking 1 minute కంటే ఎక్కువసేపు discussion ఉండదు if you did not really work on that project, because the other person will get to know about your credibility within 1 minute. మీరు ప్రాజెక్ట్ గురించి ఏదైనా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తున్నారు అంటేనే దే విల్ గెట్ టు నో దట్. ఇన్ కేస్ ఇఫ్ యు ఆర్ డూయింగ్ ఇట్ వెల్, మీరు నిజంగా చేసి దాని మీద ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేయగలుగుతున్నారు అంటే at least the interview will go on for next 20 to 30 minutes only on that one project. Now, I have been working in career, like industry for last 13.5 years. నేను ఇప్పుడు ఏదైనా ఇంటర్వ్యూకి వెళ్ళినా కూడా most of the times the discussion will always be on the projects that I worked on, right? Now, if I give good information, దాని మీద ఎక్కువసేపు డిస్కషన్ ఉంటుంది. If I'm not able to give, they'll just say cross mark towards that project and they'll move on to the next project, right? Which is giving a negative impact. So Allah, it's not only for the freshers. Even after 10 years or 15 years or 20 years, the discussions will always be on the projects only. So now try to make more focus on towards the projects. And then projects lo kuda try to create this credibility. So basically మీరు క్రియేట్ చేసిన ప్రాజెక్ట్ ఏంటి, ఆ ప్రాజెక్ట్లో what are the main things that you have used. If you say we have used strong object oriented programming concepts and we have used solid principles, these 2 lines will keep your discussion longer for at least half an hour. And since you have worked on this project, will it be easier for you to answer? ఇది మీరు రియల్గా చేసి ఉండకపోతే, if this was something like this, it is very difficult and దాంట్లో డిస్కస్ చేయడానికి కూడా ఎక్కువ ఉండదు. But if you have used all these things, then you will have at least 2 hours of discussion. అంత కంటెంట్ మీ దగ్గర ఉంటుంది. Half an hour is like very, very easy for you guys, right? So try to understand these principles and try to apply them. Clear, guys, everyone? So that interview, like how the discussion will go on is now, let me just create a use case. Let's say we are talking about the e-commerce project only. E-commerce project with a discussion vachinappudu, first thing they will ask is, what is this project about, right? Then you are going to say, we have used this project for learning certain practices. What are those? Oops concepts strong avvadaniki, solid principles నేర్చుకోవడానికి. You are not saying that we have built this project as a unique thing. ఇది బయట ఎక్కడ లేదు అని చెప్పట్లేదు. We are saying that this is a learning project. And if they ask about anything unique about this particular thing, the unique thing about this particular thing is the architecture. దీన్ని మేము వెల్ డిజైన్డ్ ఆర్కిటెక్చర్తో క్రియేట్ చేశాము, సో దట్ వీ వర్ ఏబుల్ టు ఎక్స్ప్లోర్ మల్టిపుల్ థింగ్స్. We were able to apply proper inheritance. We were able to apply proper abstraction. We were able to apply understand encapsulation in depth. We were able to apply solid principles. సో ఇవన్నీ చెప్పారనుకోండి, మీరు ఏ టర్మ్ అయితే యూజ్ చేస్తున్నారో ఆ టర్మ్ మీద నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ రాబోతుంది. ఇఫ్ యూ సే ఎస్ఆర్పి, ద నెక్స్ట్ క్వశ్చన్ విల్ బి, సో వాట్ ఈస్ ఎస్ఆర్పి అండ్ వై డిడ్ యూ యూజ్ ఇట్? యూ కెన్ సింప్లీ సే. సో యూజువల్లీ ఎస్ఆర్పి మీన్స్ having one responsibility, but the ideal reason is it should have only one reason to change. Here itself, there are two sentences cheppetappude you are creating a differentiating factor. Why exactly they have to choose you, right? So you are saying that we are not just following a group of people, we are trying to identify the root level things in depth, and then we are making use of them in the projects. So SRP ala enduku use chesaru, like what is that reason? You can explain that. And then if they ask about like other things like OCP adagachu, leda risk of substitution principle adagachu, or they might ask about like I and D also. So ala edana they will ask only hardly one or two, not more than one or two. And trust me, most of them don't know in depth of these things. Chaala mandiki industry lo they know only solid principles, that's it. Many people, like 95% of the people, వాళ్ళు ఏంటంటే జస్ట్ ఈ టర్మ్స్ యూజ్ చేస్తారు. అండ్ ఐ హోప్ ఈవెన్ మీరు కూడా ఇలాంటి సిచ్యువేషన్స్ చూసి ఉంటారు. Now, whenever someone asks people, they talk about AI, they talk about ML, they talk about data science and all. But do they really know them? Frankly, no. They know very little about that. Okay, YouTube video చూసారు అంటే they feel like they are masters in that, right? So, అలాంటి కేసు నుంచి you are going into a place where you are showing your in-depth knowledge about a particular concept. And ఈ కాన్సెప్ట్స్ మీద మనం అంత టైం స్పెండ్ చేయడానికి రీజన్ ఏంటి? This have that work. వీటి మీద మనం టైం స్పెండ్ చేస్తే ఇట్స్ ఆల్వేస్ అబౌట్ దిస్ 80-20 రూల్. అగైన్ ఇఫ్ యూ సీ, if you spend 80% time on your designing your system, you will spend only 20% of your time on coding. And మనం ఎక్కువ బ్లాక్ అయ్యేది కూడా కోడింగ్ దగ్గరే. సిన్స్ ఇట్ ఈస్ ఈజీ, డిజైన్ అంతా ఆల్రెడీ చేసేసాం కాబట్టి కోడింగ్ బికమ్స్ ఈజియర్. యూ వోంట్ గెట్ స్టక్ సో ఈజీ. It becomes much simpler for you guys, right? So this is how we can actually explain it to the interviewer also. You can say that we follow Pareto principle. So this is nothing but Pareto principle. If you want, you can just check it online also. You can just search for 80-20 rule. You can see this, right? 20% of efforts will give you 80% of the results, and the remaining 80% of the efforts will give you only 20% of the results. This happens in almost like every case. Prati chota idi jarigedi. So you need to be in this particular 20% effort దగ్గర, which will give you higher results. And those are the people who will get higher packages. Higher packages evariki ఊరికే ఇవ్వరు. ఎవరికి ఇస్తారంటే people who are ready to take the risk, people who are ready to spend extra time on solving complex problems. So if you are able to take these 20% difficult tasks, then your package is also going to be on a 80% thing, right? Does it make sense, guys, everyone? And now let me give you some small techniques, like how to use these kind of things, how to remember these things. Whenever you talk to your friends, whenever you talk with your colleagues and all, try to keep talking about these terms, whether it is Pareto principle, solid, single responsibility, open closed. ఇవి మీరు ఎప్పుడు కూడా మీ ఫ్రెండ్స్తో మాట్లాడుతూ ఉండడానికి ట్రై చేయండి, సో దట్ మీ బ్రెయిన్లో దే గెట్ వైర్డ్ యాక్చువల్లీ. యూ డోంట్ ఫర్గెట్ దెమ్ ఈజీలీ. And then one more misconception many people think is మనం వేరే వాళ్ళకి చెప్తే వాళ్ళకు కూడా వచ్చేస్తాయి, సో వీల్ నాట్ హ్యావ్ దట్ అడ్వాంటేజ్ అనిపిస్తుంది. డోంట్ అస్యూమ్ దట్. It is always an extra advantage whenever you share things with other people. So whenever you explain something to others, you tend to improvise the content on that. Then inka like advanced levels ki inka next levels ki easy ga vellagaltaru. So there is some thing called we are going to use this from tomorrow. What if? What if strategy? So what if strategy అంటే like ఇట్స్ బేసికలీ నథింగ్ బట్ లైక్ యూ టేక్ ఎనీ యూస్ కేస్, ఏదైనా ఒక ఎగ్జాంపుల్ తీసుకోండి. ఆ ఎగ్జాంపుల్లో ఇది ఇలా కాకుండా వేరేగా వర్క్ అయితే ఎలా ఉంటుంది అండ్ వై ఇట్ ఈస్ నాట్ హ్యాపెనింగ్. మనం ఆల్రెడీ ఇది చాలా చోట్ల యూజ్ చేసాం. వెన్ వీ డిస్కస్డ్ అబౌట్ మల్టిపుల్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ విత్ జావా అండ్ పైథాన్, వీ డిస్కస్డ్ ఇట్, రైట్? సో మల్టిపుల్ ఇన్హెరిటెన్స్ జావాలో ఎందుకు సపోర్ట్ అవ్వదు? బికాస్ దెర్ ఈస్ ఎ ప్రాబ్లమ్. సో వాట్ ఇఫ్ ఆ ప్రాబ్లం లేకపోతే క్యాన్ వి సాల్వ్ ఇట్? Yes, Python does that. So we are basically focusing on this what if condition. This is something that will create a lot of questions for us. This will something that will create a lot of what you say learning for us. So whenever you explain to other people, ఈ వాట్ ఇఫ్ అన్నది చాలా ఎక్కువ ఎక్స్టెన్సివ్గా మీకు అలవాటు అవుతుంది. సో యూ గెట్ టు ఆన్సర్ అ లాట్ ఆఫ్ మోర్ క్వశ్చన్స్. సో దట్ వే వీ గెట్ బెటర్ అట్ దట్ పర్టికులర్ కాన్సెప్ట్. సో సాలిడ్ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్ కానీ ఆబ్జెక్ట్ ఓరియంటెడ్ ప్రోగ్రామింగ్ కానీ try to discuss these things with other people frequently, very, very frequently. If possible, prati roju spend at least 5 minutes or 10 minutes talking to other people on these things. You will get a better clarity on these concepts, and you will you will not forget these concepts on a short duration. Will you try that, guys? Everyone, just keep talking these technical things. That's it. Instead of talking something else, try to talk on these things. People who are interested on these things. ప్రతి ఒక్కరిది మాట్లాడాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. ఎవరికైతే ఇంట్రెస్ట్ ఉంటుందో అలాంటి వాళ్ళతో వీటి గురించి డిస్కస్ చేయండి. అండ్ ఇలాంటివి డిస్కస్ చేస్తూ ఉంటే యువర్ క్లారిటీ గెట్స్ బెటర్ అండ్ యువర్ ఛాన్సెస్ ఆఫ్ సక్సెస్ ఇన్ ఫ్యూచర్ విల్ బి మచ్ హైయర్. రైట్ గైస్? సో వాట్ ఆర్ ద నెక్స్ట్ థింగ్స్ దట్ వీ నీడ్ టు డిస్కస్? So we are done with single responsibility principle. We are done with open closed principle, and there are 3 other things which are Liskov substitution principle, interface segregation principle, and then dependency inversion principle. So these 3 things we will cover it in the next sessions, and also we will try to apply them in our program. So today we have seen this, right? మనం ఒక్కొక్క దానికి ఎలా క్లాసెస్ క్రియేట్ చేయాలి అన్నది డిస్కస్ చేశాం. Now the next sessions what we are going to do is like we already have content for this on the platform. We are going to create the same classes. ఒక్కొక్క క్లాస్లో ఏవి ఉంచాలి, వేటిని మూవ్ చేయొచ్చు, అండ్ హౌ టు అప్లై దీస్ ప్రిన్సిపల్స్. We are going to look at those things in the next sessions. So yeah, that's it for today, guys. I hope everyone understood about SRP and OCP, single responsibility principle, and object open closed principle. So let's continue with the next topics in the next session tomorrow. Thank you everyone. Just give me a minute before continuing to the Q&A session.